next guest takes on Jan Błachowicz coming up here at UFC on Fox 26 in Winnipeg. It is Jared Cannonier joining me here on the program for the very first time. Jared, how are you?
I'm doing good, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, and I appreciate you taking the time on this beautiful Saturday morning by the looks of it out in Arizona. And I actually saw your last fight live. I was in Vegas. It was the Tough 25 finale. And I know you mentioned in that post-fight scrum that you would move from Alaska to Arizona. And I want to know, how's the transition been, moving out there and training there full time?
For me, it's been a relatively smooth transition. I've been here before. I've been at the lab before, so I'm pretty familiar with the program and some of the guys who train there. So it wasn't a filling out process for me or getting to know any of the guys. A few new faces, but it's still, the same lab, the same best gym in the country, some of the best coaches, the best training partners, and I think one of the best programs that's going to help me elevate my game to the next level.
So what's the connection there? Because you're from Alaska. How did that get set up with you even going down to train there to begin with?
Well, some really good friends of ours that we initially met in Alaska when I first started training and fighting have been down here for about 2 years before. And when I was in Alaska, they saw the potential in me, and they knew that, I couldn't, get to the very top just staying up there in Alaska, because they don't really have a program to cater to professional fighters. So, they had a place down here, and they, opened their home to me. And I say, hey, I'll just go down there and train and rent free and, enjoy that. And it really made an impression on me. So afterwards, I didn't win my fight because I came down for a camp. I didn't win the fight, but I really liked the program. I really liked the atmosphere. So I figured, and it was a really good family atmosphere, and I'm a real big family man. I have 3 children and a wife, so I wanted them to, remain a part of my career as well. So it really wasn't a hard decision for me to make the move. It was just a matter of time and finances.
Excellent. Well, I'm glad it's worked out well for you. And, of course, we got to talk about your last fight. You went out there and you got the win over Nick Rorick, who we found out after was actually flagged by USADA. Does that make the win a little bit more sweeter for you, knowing you took out a guy who was, basically cutting corners?
Nope. It kind of upsets me because I broke my hand against his head.
Right.
I injured my elbow against him. So it really makes me mad. I'm really glad USADA caught him. But the crazy thing is, the drug they caught him for is what fighters use when they're coming off of a cycle. That, to me, that tells me that the guy was juicing while I was fighting him. So it makes me mad. This guy was in there fighting in a professional setting on steroids, enhanced, and I don't like that, not one bit. I'm a clean fighter. I don't even take supplements no more because everybody's talking about tainted supplements, so I don't even take that no more. But and not that I took any performance enhancing supplements. I only took fish oil and multivitamins and some probiotics. But I don't even want to mess with that anymore because of the excuses these guys are coming up with, and I don't want to be one of the ones to get hit with the lame ass excuses. It's tainted supplements. So but I'm glad that USADA guys are catching them. Oh, crap. Not only that, but the guy I was potentially supposed to fight here in December got flagged by USADA. And then one of my previous fighters had gotten flagged, but his was more of a voluntary disclosure. But still, you know what I'm saying? I'm glad USADA's catching these guys, leveling out the playing field. And Again, it doesn't make me happy that I beat a juicer, a guy who was allegedly juicing. It doesn't make me happy because I injured my hand, and yeah. But when I look at the fight, you can say that I did that against a guy, who was enhanced, but I take no pride in it,
Fair enough. When they told you were fighting in Winnipeg, did you know anything about Winnipeg before you took this fight?
I knew it was going to be cold.
Yeah, I was going to say, well, you're a veteran. I mean, we talked about this. You're from Alaska, so I'm sure somewhere in your closet, deep down, like in the bottom of it, there's a winter coat. Or did you get rid of all that?
No, man. I never had a winter coat. I had a bunch of hoodies and a bunch of sweatpants. So I am not winterized, not one bit. I'm originally from Texas, and and I kept that mindset. I dressed Texan, and on top of that, I don't spend too much time outside in the cold. I'm not a big outdoorsy guy in the cold. When it comes to being in adverse weather, I'm not going to be out there in that. So
is it tough to find winter stuff out in Arizona? I bet because it never gets cold there.
Well, you can find anything on the internet.
That's true. Yeah, Amazon, the power of Amazon and all that stuff. That's good. We talked about your opponent, Jan Błachowicz. He's got the 20-7 record. How do you feel like you match up against him in this fight?
He's a big guy, jiu-jitsu black belt. But as in all my fights, I think I have more athleticism. I have the better striking. And again, I think I have a stronger mind than anybody who can step in the cage with me. Nobody can get in my head. Nobody can break my spirit or anything like that. You can break the body, but you cannot break my spirit. So that's just it. I know what I want to do when I get in there, and there's pretty much nothing he can do about it because he's not fast enough. So.
When you think of the MMA Lab, you think of a lot of the lighter weight classes as far as people being there. So who are some of the people you've been training with at the lab helping you get ready for this fight?
I train with anybody. I train any and everybody, from the biggest to the smallest. No, they don't have a lot of big guys in the lab, but they have a few big guys come in, come out. We do have a few big guys who aren't really as seasoned, as some of the guys in the UFC, but the big bodies who ain't afraid to throw hands, which is really good. And I'm getting hit, which really doesn't happen a lot, in my fight. So if I'm getting hit in the gym, that tells me that I'm not going to get hit in the cage. Because, again, training and fighting is two different things. And, again, like I said, I don't discriminate. I'll train with anybody. And the smaller guys, and I've trained my whole career with smaller guys. And that's one of the reasons why I'm so quick and I'm able to see the shots coming and stuff like that. So now I'm training with, the smaller weight classes, but these guys are way better than the guys who I had up there in Alaska. They have way more experience and they're more well-rounded. And the main reason why I came down here is to get my, to work on my transition to grappling and wrestling in the fight. From going from striking to wrestling at the blink of an eye. As soon as the guy changes levels, I know how to make the right moves right then and there instead of waiting to hit the ground and getting my bearings back and then start from there. So, and it's coming along nicely, and I think it's going to show in my next fight.
And I was talking to one of your teammates earlier this week, Scott Holtzman, and he brought up a good point that there's so many of the guys from the lab that have fights coming up. Scott, Luke Sanders, Sean O'Malley, Drakkar Klose. Like, the morale in the gym must be really good with all of you guys getting ready for fights around the same time.
Well, the morale is always good in the gym. It's nothing but hard work going on in there, and everybody who shows up to work. So whether we have fights going on or not, morale is going to be good. We all know the mission to get better, 1% better every day. And that's what we're doing. But yes, the morale is good. The energy is very high right now. Everybody is getting in, we're getting down to the wire. Like the next 4 weeks is going to be busy for especially the coaches. They're going to be gone pretty much every weekend. So, we're getting down to the wire, starting to close up camp. And, everything is going great. So
love it, man. That's awesome. How do you see this fight ending coming up here at UFC on Fox 26?
Well, I don't like to make predictions, but I know I'm going to hit the guy.
Yes.
Hit pretty hard. So you get hit pretty hard, you're probably going to go to sleep. He has good jiu-jitsu, so it's a chance that I could get tapped out, which is not really a chance because I don't plan on playing into his game. So I just know I'm going to come out with my hand raised. Hopefully I get a bonus too.
Yeah, no, for sure. You always put on good fights. I remember after your last fight, you mentioned the possibility of potentially moving down to middleweight. Is that still something you're thinking about or no?
Even more so now. After being here, doing all the work I'm doing, my weight just keeps going down. I'm light. I'm not really a natural light heavyweight. You know what I'm saying? I'm just big. But and I still carry some fat on my body. So I can definitely hit. I definitely want to hit 185 in 2018. But who knows, man? Things are going very well at 185. I'll probably keep 185. I'm sorry. Things are going well at 205.
Yeah, I know what you meant.
I'll probably keep 185 in my back pocket. But then again, who knows, man? Everybody's talking about being 2 division champs, and I think the UFC likes that. I don't know if they like it or not. They hadn't told me either way. But I know the light heavyweight division isn't as stacked at some of the other divisions, especially the middleweight division. But from my perspective, there's a lot of bodies in middleweight that I could be fighting. You know, and each fight that I have, they're going to pay me, so why not?
Last question for you here. What do you like doing on your downtime? I know you're a family guy. I know you're busy, you know, training and everything like that. But when you get that little bit of free time, are you watching any Netflix? Are you playing any video games? What would I find you doing with that little bit of downtime?
Well, again, I have 3 children.
Yeah.
And we only have 1 vehicle right now. So we spend a lot of time in the gym, and we spend a lot of time with the kids. So, I mean, I used to be a big gamer, but I can't anymore since I started having kids. You know, your priorities change. And, you know, and actually right now I've been reading a lot of books. You know, I've gotten into back into my history, and that has actually become my religion. So I've been doing a lot of studying in African history, and you know, tracing the roots all the way back to like you know, 6,000, 7,000 years ago. And people think the world began 6,000, 7,000 years ago, but history tells a different story. So that's where I've been. My walk has changed. My outlook on life, the way I perceive the world, the way I perceive everything has changed. And I think that's going to be I think that's the biggest change since I've been down here in Alaska. I'm sorry, in Arizona.
Down in Arizona, yeah. I was going to say it's definitely not that sunny in Alaska right now. I wouldn't imagine.
Yeah,
so
I've had a lot of time. You know, I've had a lot of time to, you know, sit and contemplate on, you know, who I am and where I come from, and what I've done with my life, and yeah, it's just been a big. You know what I'm saying?
No, I do. You seem like you're in a great mood. I mean, I know I'm catching you first thing in the morning, but you know, the sun's shining. You're in a good mood, man. I can tell the transition has been good, and I'm happy to see how that translated into the cage, and that is at UFC on Fox 26. It's coming up here in Winnipeg. Jared, this is an awesome getting a chance to talk to you, man. Just remind people where they can get a hold of you on social media, and if you got any sponsors or shout-outs, the floor is yours, sir.
All right. Well, I am on Facebook at The Killer Gorilla, THAKILLA Gorilla. I'm also on Instagram and Twitter at Killer Gorilla MMA. So yeah, give me a like, drop a line. I'm not very big on responding to social media, but I'm trying to change that and be more interactive with the fans and stuff like that. And you know, this is my full-time job now, so I have to, you know, there's things 1 and 2. But yeah, I don't really have too many sponsors, you know, so I want to thank the guys at the lab. I want to thank my old gym. I want to thank everybody in Alaska, because those guys still support me, and they've always supported me, even though I'm not born Alaskan. I am. They have adopted me and supported me, and my gym up there is what, you know, I got to the UFC through that gym, so. I really want to thank those guys up there, and I'm still watching you guys up there, so keep up the good work. And eventually I'll come up there and share some of the knowledge I'm acquiring.
Hello, Fight fans. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe for even more interviews with your favorite UFC and Bellator fighters, including coverage from events with post-fight press conferences and open workout media scrums. And if you like this video, check out this other video to my right.